warnings were clear. The signs were obvious, but your enemies didn't listen. They ignored every message, dismissed every sign, and continued walking down a path of destruction as if there would never be consequences. They thought they could mock, plot, and harm without any repercussions. They believed that because nothing had happened yet, nothing ever would. But that was their mistake. God has been watching. Every action, every word, every scheme, they weren't hidden from him. He gave them time to change, time to turn away, time to make things right. But they refused. And now that time is up. His patience has run out. Some call it bad luck. Some say it's just life. But you know better. You've seen how things work. This isn't random. This is divine justice. What they did in secret is now being exposed in the open. What they sent your way is returning to them. Doubled, tripled, even more than they ever expected. They thought they could break you, but all they did was seal their own fate. It started slowly. Small losses, unexpected. Setbacks. But now it's getting worse. Their health is failing, their plans are crumbling, and their peace has disappeared. The sickness isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Their minds are restless. Their souls are in turmoil. Nothing they do seems to work anymore, and they don't understand why. But deep down they feel it. They know something is wrong. They just don't want to admit that this is the result of their own actions. The very thing they tried to use against you is now their downfall. The lies, the manipulation, the deceit, it has all come full circle. And the worst part, they can't stop it. No amount of excuses, apologies, or quick fixes can undo what they've set in motion. God has stepped in, and when he moves, nothing can stop him. God is patient, but his patience is not endless. He gives people time. He warns them through signs, through people, through situations. He allows difficulties to come, hoping they will humble themselves and change. But when they ignore all of this, they bring consequences upon themselves. Your enemies had plenty of chances. They had time to reflect, time to stop, time to make things right. But instead of listening, they pushed forward with their wickedness. They convinced themselves that they were untouchable, that they could do whatever they wanted without facing judgment. They mistook God's patience for weakness, and now they are facing the reality of his justice. Their sickness is not just in their body, it's in their soul. It's in their mind, their emotions, their spirit. Their nights are sleepless, their hearts are heavy, and no matter what they do, they can't shake the feeling that something is terribly wrong. They try to distract themselves, but the weight of their own actions follows them everywhere. At first, they blamed everything else. They blamed bad luck. They blamed other people. They even tried to blame you. But none of it changes the truth. This isn't about random events. This is a divine consequence. When someone spends their time tearing others down, that destruction eventually turns on them. They dug a pit for you, but now they're the ones falling into it. They set traps for you, but now those traps are closing in on them. What they sent out has come back to them, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. This is the price of ignoring God, the price of refusing to change. They thought they could live however they wanted without consequences, but now they are learning. No one escapes God's justice. What your enemies never realized is that you were never alone. They thought they could attack you freely, but they didn't understand that you were covered. Every time they planned against you, God was already 10 steps ahead. They assumed that because you didn't fight back, you were weak. They mistook your silence for powerlessness. But what they didn't know is that you never had to fight your battles alone. Every attack they sent was intercepted. Every scheme they created was dismantled before it could harm you. There were times when you felt the pressure. There were moments when you wondered why things were so difficult. But what you didn't see was everything God was blocking on your behalf. The things that did reach you, they were nothing compared to what he kept away. Your enemies thought they had the upper hand, but they were playing a losing game from the beginning. They assumed they were in control, but the truth is, God had already decided your victory. Now the tables have turned. The very protection that kept you safe has now turned into a force of justice against them. The same wall that shielded you is now standing between them and their escape. They're looking for a way out, but every door is closing. They want relief, but peace is nowhere to be found. And the reason is simple. God is making it clear that He was always in control. They can't fight against Him. They can't undo what they've done. They thought they could move however they wanted, but now they are face to face with the truth. When you attack someone covered by God, you don't just fight them, you fight Him, and no one wins against God. There is no sickness without a cause. While some illnesses come from natural reasons, there are others that are spiritual, born from darkness, sin, and rebellion against God. Your enemies may think that their suffering is random, but it's not. It is the weight of their own actions, catching up to them. When someone carries a heart full of hate, jealousy, and deception, it doesn't just stay inside, it begins to eat away at them. It poisons their spirit, clouds their mind, and eventually takes a toll on their body. They may have laughed when they were plotting against you. They may have enjoyed seeing you struggle. But now those same evil thoughts are turning on them. Their body is failing because their soul is sick. The stress of their own wickedness is consuming them from the inside out. They are restless, anxious, and exhausted. Their energy is drained because they spent too much time focusing on your downfall instead of their own growth. God designed the world with a balance. What you send out into the world eventually returns to you. Those who spread love, kindness, and truth reap peace, favor, and strength. But those who operate in deception, manipulation, and harm will eventually feel the effects of their own choices. That is what is happening now. Your enemies are feeling the weight of their own wickedness, and it's manifesting in ways they can no longer ignore. The sickness they face is a warning, but many of them won't see it that way. They'll try to blame everything except the truth, that they brought this upon themselves. They thought they were in control. They thought they could act without consequences. But now, their own body is reminding them that no one escapes God's justice. For a long time, it seemed like nothing was happening. Your enemies continued doing wrong and there were no consequences. They walked around with confidence, thinking they had outsmarted you, thinking they had gotten away with it. They confused God's patience with God's permission, but they are not the same. God gives people time to change. He gives them warnings, signs, and opportunities to make things right. He doesn't strike immediately because He is merciful. He doesn't destroy instantly because He wants people to turn back to Him. But when they refuse over and over again, there comes a moment when the door of grace closes. When that happens, what follows is not mercy, it is judgment. And when God moves in judgment, there is no escaping it. Your enemies had time. They had warnings. They ignored them. They pushed further into their wickedness. They thought that because God hadn't acted yet, He never would. But now they are learning the truth. When God finally responds, His justice is unstoppable. They will try to fix things. They will try to run, but it's too late. The same patience that once protected them has now been replaced by a judgment that cannot be undone. When God warns, listen. When He tells you to stop, stop. Because if you refuse, you don't just face the consequences of your actions, you face the full power of God's justice. Have you noticed how things are shifting? The people who once seemed untouchable are suddenly losing everything. The ones who used to laugh at you, mock you, or make your life difficult are now struggling in ways they never imagined. This is not coincidence. This is divine reversal. For so long, they thought they could get away with anything. They believed that because they had power, influence, or resources, they could do whatever they wanted. They controlled situations, manipulated people, and used their position to harm others. But now God is tearing down everything they built. Their strength is failing. Their confidence is gone. They are realizing piece by piece that they are not in control anymore. No amount of money, no connections, no strategy can stop what is happening to them. They are falling, and there is nothing they can do to stop it. The same way they tried to block your blessings, their own blessings are now being stripped away. The same way they tried to bring you down, they are now the ones being brought low. They used to be the ones people admired, the ones people feared, the ones who held influence, but now people are watching as everything falls apart. God is showing the world that He is the true authority. No one stands against Him and wins. No one fights against his chosen and succeeds. And while they struggle, you are rising. Everything they took from you, God is restoring. Every moment they made you suffer, God is repaying with favor and peace. The tables have turned, and this time the victory is yours. For a long time it felt like you were losing. You watched as people took advantage of you, spoke against you, and tried to block your path. You suffered losses, time, opportunities, even relationships because of their actions. But here's the truth. Nothing that was taken from you was ever truly lost. God allowed certain things to be removed, not as a punishment, but as part of a greater plan. He saw what you couldn't see. He knew who and what needed to go so that he could bring you into something better. Your enemies thought they were winning when they took from you, but in reality, they were setting you up for greater blessings. Now the shift is happening. The things you lost, they are coming back, but in greater measure. The joy they tried to steal, God is multiplying it. The opportunities they blocked, God is opening. Doors they can't touch, the peace they tried to disturb. You're about to walk in a level of peace they will never understand. While they are facing judgment, you are stepping into restoration. While they are watching things fall apart, you are watching everything fall into place. Because when God restores, He doesn't just give back what was lost, He increases it. There was a time when you wanted to fight back, when you wanted to expose them, make them feel the pain they caused, or prove that they were wrong about you. But now you see the bigger picture. You never needed to take revenge. God already handled it. The truth is, revenge is exhausting. It drains your energy and keeps you stuck in the past. But God's justice is perfect. He repays in ways that are far greater than anything you could ever do. He knows exactly what they deserve. He knows exactly when and how to bring judgment. Now, instead of focusing on them, you can focus on your future. Your enemies are no longer your problem. God is dealing with them. They are facing the consequences of their actions, and you don't have to lift a finger. The best revenge? Living in peace, moving forward, thriving. Because while they are stuck in the chaos they created, you are free. So what happens from here? Your enemies will try to deny what's happening. They'll look for excuses, try to blame everything except their own actions. But deep down, they know the truth. They feel the shift. They see the consequences. Some might even try to come back, pretending they've changed, hoping to reconnect. But be careful. Many of them are not truly sorry. They are just desperate. They are feeling the weight of their downfall, and they are looking for a way out. This is where your wisdom comes in. You don't need to let them back in. Forgive them. But don't forget what God has shown you. Some people were removed from your life for a reason, and letting them back in will only delay the blessings coming your way. Your focus now should be on what God is doing in your life. The past is behind you. The future is waiting. And what's coming is greater than anything you've lost. This is your confirmation. God has handled it. You don't need to look back. You don't need to fight old battles. Your enemies have already been dealt with. Now it's time for you to step into your blessings. Everything you have been waiting for, everything you have prayed for, everything that was delayed, it's coming. The hardships were only temporary. The struggles were only preparation. God saw every tear. He heard every prayer. He knows everything you have been through. And now, He is lifting you up. He is bringing you into a season of favor, peace, and restoration. The people who tried to destroy you, they are watching as you rise, the ones who said you wouldn't make it. They are witnessing your breakthrough. This is your season, your moment. Your time to step into everything that was always meant for you. Let go of the past. Walk into your future. And never forget, when God is for you, no one can stand against you. If this message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and stay connected for more powerful messages like this. God is moving, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay strong, stay focused, and remember, God is on your side.